Welcome to DRTSPR show. This is Dr. Tangella Shiva Prasad Reddy alias Dr. TSPR. Namaste, Adab, hello, and a warm welcome to another special show. Electoral bonds, funding of political parties, made public by Supreme Court of India when SBI did not yield, when Union government, along with all political parties except for communists or someone, they did not want to disclose the information. कोई समाचार हम नहीं देना चाह रहे थे इलेक्ट्रल बॉन्ड के जरिए पैसे कौन सी राजनीतिक दल को किसने दिया, क्यों दिया, क्या वो सही तरीके से कानूनी दौर पर कमाया सो पैसा है या भ्रष्टाचार का पैसा है या क्विड प्रो को। आज की शो हम जो करने जा रहे हैं, जो दवाइयां हैं उनकी परीक्षा बिना परीक्षा करे हुए वो मरीजों के लिए, हम जैसे लोगों के लिए जब हमारी स्वास्थ्य बिगड़ती है, परीक्षा बिना परीक्षा के दवाएं हम जब रोगी बन के जाते हैं, हमारे ऊपर प्रहार किया जा रहा है। यही इलेक्ट्रल बॉन्ड का बड़ा खुलासा है, क्योंकि स्वास्थ्य के साथ खेल, जीवन के साथ खेल। जब हम ही ना रहे, किसके लिए ये चुनाव और किसके लिए ये प्रजा लोकतंत्र। तो क्यों सुप्रीम कोर्ट, उच्चतम न्यायालय, जिसने स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया की चुका के उन्होंने समाचार आज हमारे बीच में लगाया है, उस समाचार के जरिए काफी कुछ भ्रष्टाचार और किस तरह ईडी और आईटी से डरा कर पैसे लिए गए राजनीतिक दल, सभी दोष है इसमें। बीजेपी हो, कांग्रेस हो, बीआरएस हो, डीएमके हो या हर कोई पार्टी, आम आदमी पार्टी, हर कोई, जब इस तरह की विषय बाहर आए, हम हर बार यही चाहते कि इलेक्ट्रल बॉन्ड जो पैसा जो दिया है राजनीतिक दल भ्रष्टाचार के स्वरूप या दूसरी तरीके से, उसको खत्म किया जाए। इनकम टैक्स उसको स्वाधीन करना चाहिए और उससे लाख करोड़ के ऊपर पैसा आएगा, क्योंकि जब पेनाल्टी लगाएंगे, क्योंकि ये पैसा जो राजनीतिक दल को दिया है वो सही तरीके से कानूनी के तौर पर रहनी चाहिए। अगर नहीं है वो पेनाल्टी से, जो कांग्रेस को पेनाल्टी दिया है इनकम टैक्स, वही पेनाल्टी ये सब जो लोग हैं जो इलेक्ट्रल बॉन्ड के द्वारा पैसे दिए हैं उनके ऊपर लागू कर सकते थे। लेकिन क्यों इनकम टैक्स चुप है, ईडी चुप है और इसके बाद सुप्रीम कोर्ट क्यों चुप है? ये पैसे से ये लोग आज चुनाव की मजाक खेल खेल रहे हैं और किस तरह की खेल खेल रहे हैं राजनीतिक दल, आपको मारे। और जब स्वास्थ्य हमारे जीवन का फैसला है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट, उच्चतम न्यायालय क्यों चुप है? व्हाई सुप्रीम कोर्ट इज साइलेंट? It forced State Bank of India to reveal everything, which is very good, which is good for democracy. ये लोकतंत्र के लिए सही है। Then why Supreme Court, after making Supreme SBI reveal and Election Commission of India releasing the data as to who is the one who has funded which party and how much, when every detail is clear, corruption money, enticements, they've got contracts after paying. And when the cases were there on IT and ED, the cases were withdrawn or they were released from jails, quid pro quo. When everything is clear, why Supreme Court is still silent? And that too, when it comes to health, the drugs, under trial drugs, only 0.1% Indian Medical Association reveals. Why Indian Medical Association is keeping quiet? When 0.1 drugs are only available, which are tested, how is that a patient, if he goes to the hospital or a physician or a doctor, if they are prescribing those 99.99% drugs which did not undergo trial, what would be the fate of health of every Indian citizen? Why Supreme Court is keeping quiet? And such drug companies have contributed a lot to all those political parties which are ruling the state as well as the central parties, national parties. Then why Supreme Court did not ban and investigate and withdraw such type of amounts? And you need court monitor trial. Since how long this has been going on? How many people have died because of this? Or how many people have been incapacitated? How many people have developed adverse symptoms? The dis-ease, if they are being treated for dis-ease, after being treated, if they had added more and more side symptoms or side effects, don't you think these companies, and including political parties, including those state governments, are all equally responsible? And those media houses who try to channelize such propaganda of these drugs without understanding how dangerous this drug, if it doesn't undergo trial with side effects clearly mentioned, and if it is prescribed to a patient, what will happen? And when in the form of prevention, even these vaccines when they are given, we were demanding, what does this vaccine contain? Why don't you give the details of the vaccine before you punch? Likewise, why don't you give the details of the drug which you are pumping inside? Contents of the drugs are vaccines. How dangerous it will be. So that is why we have taken up this show. ఈ రోజు తీసుకున్నది కూడా ఎన్నికల బాండ్ల ద్వారా రాజకీయ పార్టీలకు, అది కూడా రాష్ట్రంలో ఉండే పలు పార్టీలకు ఈ మందులు మన మీద, మనకు ఆరోగ్యం బాగులేకపోతే డాక్టర్ దగ్గరకు పోయినా, హాస్పిటల్కి పోయినా మందులు మనకి ఇస్తూ ఉంటారు. ఆ మందుల ద్వారా మనము ఆరోగ్యాన్ని పొందే విధంగా చూస్తూ ఉంటారు. చికిత్స ఆ మందుల ద్వారా. కానీ అటువంటి మందులే కేవలం 0.1% పరీక్ష జరపబడి మార్కెట్లోకి వస్తే మిగతా 99.99% మందులు అసలు పరీక్షనే జరగలే. అటువంటి కంపెనీలు ఎలక్ట్రల్ బాండ్ల రూపంలో పొలిటికల్ పార్టీలు, రాజకీయ పార్టీలకు, అదేవిధంగా రాష్ట్రంలో ఏలేటువంటి పార్టీలకు డబ్బులు ఇస్తే ఆ వివరాలన్నీ సుప్రీంకోర్టు పుణ్యం కట్టుకున్నది. మొత్తం ఎలక్ట్రల్ బాండ్లు ఎస్బీఐ నడ్డి విరిచి బయటికి తీసింది. ఎలక్షన్ కమిషన్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా, ఎన్నికల సంఘం దాన్ని బయట పెట్టింది. ఆ వివరాలు కూడా మిగతాది కూడా చెప్తూనే వస్తున్నాం. ఇది అవినీతి డబ్బు, వాడు జైలుకు పోతా అంటే భయపడి ఇచ్చిన డబ్బు, కాంట్రాక్ట్ల కోసం ఇచ్చిన డబ్బు, క్విడ్ ప్రోకో. ఈ డబ్బును మొత్తం శాశ్వతంగా ఇన్కమ్ ట్యాక్స్ విచారణ చేసి దాని ద్వారా లక్షల కోట్ల రూపాయలు వస్తాయి. ఆ డబ్బును రాజకీయ పార్టీలకు ఇవ్వకూడదు అని మనం మొదటి నుంచి షో చేస్తున్నాం. అయినా పెడచవున పెట్టిన ఇన్కమ్ ట్యాక్స్ కానీ, ఎలక్షన్ కమిషన్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా కానీ, సుప్రీంకోర్టు సువమోటో తీసుకోవడం అది కూడా తీసుకోలేదు. కానీ సుప్రీంకోర్టు ఈ రోజు ఆరోగ్యానికి సంబంధించింది అటువంటి పరీక్ష నిర్వహించబడినటువంటి మందులు మన పైన ప్రయోగం చేస్తూ ఉంటే, ఉన్న రోగానికంటే ఆ మందులు వాడిన తర్వాత వచ్చే రోగాలు లేకుండా దాని తర్వాత చనిపోయిన వాళ్ళ సంఖ్య ఏ విధంగా ఉంది? ఎందుకు సుప్రీంకోర్టు దీనిపై విచారణ చేపట్టడం లేదు? ప్రాణం కంటే ఎక్కువైనదా? ఆ ప్రాణమే పణంగా పెట్టినప్పుడు, మన జీవనమే ప్రాణంగా పెట్టినప్పుడు ఎందుకు సుప్రీంకోర్టు దానిపై తక్షణమే ఇది చర్యలు తీసుకోవడం లేదు? ఇండియన్ మెడికల్ అసోసియేషన్ కూడా తను 0.1% మందులను పరీక్షింపబడిన చెప్పిన ఇండియన్ మెడికల్ అసోసియేషన్ ఎందుకు మాట్లాడడం లేదు? జవాబు చెప్పాల్సిన పరిస్థితి ఈరోజు. అందు గురించి ఈ షో నేను కొన్ని చూపిస్తాను. ఎప్పట్లాగానే మేము డిమాండ్ చేస్తా ఉన్నాం ఈ షో ద్వారా. షేర్ ఎందుకంటే మనం మొన్న చూసాం సుప్రీంకోర్టు పతాంజలి విషయంలో ఏ విధంగా సుప్రీంకోర్టు మొట్టికాయలు వేసి ఆ మందులను బయటికి పడేసింది. ప్రజలు వాడు ది మేనేజింగ్ డైరెక్టర్ ఆఫ్ పతాంజలి ఆయుర్వేదిక్ లిమిటెడ్ Acharya Balakrishna has tendered an unqualified apology before the Supreme Court for publishing advertisements regarding medicinal cures in breach of an undertaking given to the court. ఇది చెప్పినప్పుడు అదే సుప్రీంకోర్టు ఎందుకు ఇప్పుడు ఇంత పెద్ద తన డైరెక్షన్ లోనే అన్ని బయటకు వచ్చిన తర్వాత ఎందుకు ఊరుకుంటుంది?
सैकड़ों ने हजारों करोड़ का जुर्माना लगाए और हमें डेथ पेनल्टी भी दें तो हमें स्वीकार है, लेकिन यदि हम झूठ नहीं बोल रहे हैं तो जो झूठे प्रोपेगेंडा कर रहे हैं उनके ऊपर दंड लगाओ, उनके ऊपर जुर्माना लगाओ। मैं इस बात को क्यों कह रहा हूं? क्योंकि ये पिछले 5 वर्षों से बहुत खतरनाक प्रोपेगेंडा चल रहा है। स्वामी रामदेव को, पतंजलि को टारगेट करके योग, आयुर्वेद, नेचुरोपैथी और महर्षि चरक, शिष्य, धन्वंतरी आदि ऋषियों के करोड़ों वर्ष पुरानी
Ramdev on 22nd November 2023, Ramdev, if we are liars, then fine us ₹1,000 crore and we are also ready for the death penalty. Ramdev on 21st March 2024, Patanjali submits an unqualified apology for publishing advertisements on medical this thing. Fine Supreme Court, Indian Medical Association, Indian Council of Medical Research, Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, you are the Union Home Minister as well as the Union Health Minister, all political parties, all chief ministers, it is fine. Then what about these drugs which are there available in the market? It is only IMF flags NMC move mandating doctors. So the Indian Medical Association has raised concerns over the recent move by the National Medical Council which mandates doctors to prescribe only generic medicines. The IMA has demanded differing of the regulation for wider consultations and call for serious and urgent intervention by government and intervention. And it was talking about calling it as an ill-advised steps taken by NMC on the issue of generic drugs. It said it is an emergency. Then it is clearly says it is a matter of great concern for IMA since this directly impacts patients' care and safety. When it is talking, and it is also, see here, IMA is revealing in the same statement, it clearly states the quality control in the nation being very weak, there is practically no guarantee of the quality of drugs, and prescribing drugs without assured quality would be detrimental to patient health, it said, adding that less than 0.1% of the drugs manufactured in India are tested for quality. Supreme Court of India, you listen to professional bodies. Indian Medical Association is clearly stating, why are you silent? Through electoral bond, all those companies, drug manufacturers who have not undergone for any trial, they have contributed heavily to political parties, whether it is in the state or central level. And there is a clause in electoral bonds wherein those laws-making companies also can donate unlimited amounts of money. That means they are making black into white, looting money, and through shell companies. So this is this not dangerous? The quality control in the nation being very weak, there is practically no guarantee of the quality of drugs, and prescribing drugs without assured quality would be detrimental to patient health, Mr. Supreme Court. यहाँ ने क्लियरली कह दिया इंडियन मेडिकल एसोसिएशन ने, किस तरह ये खतरनाक हो सकता है, जानलेवा हो सकता है हमारे को, क्योंकि ये परीक्षा हुआ ही नहीं ये दवाएं के ऊपर जो हमारे स्वास्थ्य के लिए इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा है. क्यों सुप्रीम कोर्ट का साइलेंट है और इंडियन मेडिकल एसोसिएशन साइलेंट है? इट सेड एडिंग दैट less than 0.1% of the drugs manufactured in India are tested for quality. This is all there in the public domain. The Economic Times industry, I'll give you the date of this, August 14, 2023, Supreme Court of India and Indian Medical Association, for your memory also. Why are you silent? And I'm giving you another this thing also. From Hindustan Times. Hindustan Times, August 14, 2023. As per the NMC's new regulations issued on August 2, all doctors must prescribe generic drugs, failing which they can be penalized, sometimes to the extent of having their license. Fine. They are protesting against generic drugs being regulated by Indian NMC, National Medical Commission. Now, Indian Medical Association here clearly states, you see it is there in the statement, ikkada chala clear gundi, yahan sahi clear hai Indian Medical Association ne kya kaha hai, हमारे दवाएं किस तरह की दवाएं मिल रही है. Dr. Agarwal, he is from Indian Medical, said that the biggest hurdle in the use of generic drugs is the uncertainty regarding their quality. Quality control in the nation is very weak. Not only generic, all the other drugs also. There is practically no guarantee of the quality of drugs, and prescribing drugs without assured quality would be detrimental to patients' health. Less than 0.1% of the drugs manufactured in India are tested for quality. This step should be deferred till the government can assure the quality of all the drugs released into the market. Patient care and safety are non-negotiable. Why are you keeping quiet, Indian Medical Association, after electoral bonds? SBI electoral bonds have revealed that many state governments are being funded by those manufacturers, drug manufacturers, who have never gone for a trial or their trials have been failed. You could have directed or issued a statement favoring, so that Supreme Court would have immediately acted, and Supreme Court, after making them to reveal, then the data is in the public domain. When it concerns health, life of a citizen, why Supreme Court is keeping quiet? That is $1 million question. And it is there everywhere. And what did the World Health Organization said? Oh, this is Hindustan Times. I'll also show you. Joint statement on public disclosure of results from clinical trials. This is because everyone wants World Health Organization. Some of the world's largest funders of medical research and international non-governmental organizations agreed on new standards that will require all clinical trials they fund or support to be registered and the results disclosed publicly. Currently, about 50% of clinical trials go unreported, often because the results are negative. These unreported trial results leave an incomplete and potentially misleading picture of the risks and benefits of vaccines, drugs, and medical devices, and can lead to use of suboptimal or even harmful products. The current 2013 Declaration of Helsinki states that every research study involving human subjects must be registered in a publicly accessible database before the requirement of the first subject, and that research have a duty to make publicly available the results of their research. Negative and inconclusive as well as positive results must be published or otherwise made publicly available. In addition to the ethical imperative, poor allocation of resources for product development and financing of available interventions and suboptimal regulatory and public health recommendations may occur where decisions are based on only a subset of all completed clinical trials. WHO, World Health Organization, is also warning. Why Supreme Court is still quiet? Why Prime Minister Modi, Union Health Minister, all the chief ministers of the state, including the political parties, are keeping quiet? That is why citizens, wake up. Your life is being put for a trial in the form of 0.1 drugs which have been tested or gone through trial. क्यों जोखिम उठा रहे हैं आप? जागो. स्वास्थ्य के नाम पे हमारे ऊपर ऐसा एक बिना परीक्षा की दवाएं हमारे ऊपर प्रयोग किया जा रहा. हम प्रयोगशाला बन गए. कल यतीम बन सकते हैं या जानलेवा भी हो सकता है. आप जाग जाओ. ఇప్పటికైనా మీరు చూడండి, అన్ని ఆధారాలతో డిఆర్టీఎస్పీఆర్ ఛానల్స్ మేము ముందర పెడతా ఉంది. ఇప్పటికైనా మేలుకొనండి. మన జీవితం, మన ప్రాణం ముఖ్యమా? కేవలం 0.1% మందులు మట్టుకే పరీక్షలకు నిర్వహించి మిగతా ఇవన్నీ నిర్వహించలేదని స్వయాన ఇండియన్ మెడికల్ అసోసియేషన్ ఒప్పుకుంటుంది. WHO, వరల్డ్ హెల్త్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్, ప్రపంచ ఆరోగ్య సంస్థ కూడా అది చాలా ప్రమాదకరం, దాన్ని శాస్త్రీయంగా చేయాలని వారు కూడా చెప్తా ఉన్నారు. ఇప్పుడు ఏం మాట్లాడతారు? ప్రధానమంత్రి ఏమంటాడు? ఆరోగ్య శాఖ మంత్రి ఏమంటాడు? ముఖ్యమంత్రులు ఏమంటారు? రాజకీయ నాయకులు ఏమంటారు? వాళ్ళు ఏమన్నారు కాబట్టే ప్రజలారా మీరు మేలుకోండి. మీపై ప్రయోగించే ప్రతి దాన్ని మీరు క్షుణ్ణంగా దాంట్లో ఏమున్నాయి కనుక్కోవాలా. ఇది నిజంగా పరీక్ష చేయబడిందా? ఇది నిజంగా దాని గురించే వాడాలనా? ఆ రోగాన్ని గురించే మీరు తెలుసుకోకపోతే కోవిడ్-19 సమయంలో ఏ విధంగా అయితే ఖతమైనరో అదే దుస్థితి జీవితకాలం రాబోతుంది. ది సేమ్ COVID-19, how fear and how humans have become experimental tools, that will happen again if you don't realize. Jag jao. Then I'll try to show you now the list of, and I have done a show also regularly, out of pocket expenditure for OPD service, stress on secondary and tertiary hospital care, unnecessary medical care and upcoding, moving away from disaster capitalism, rise of corporate, fall of public health care, आपदा पूंजीवादी corporate का उदय. This is how our health is being taken for a ride. I've done all these shows and I'm just trying to public funds for private benefits for private hospitals. 70% empaneled are in private sector. Premium rupees 1,000 per family, total rupees 10,000 crores yearly. How they are taking away the disaster capitalism, rise of corporate, fall of public health care. This is all happening. IMA issued. This is, I have already read this statement. Now this is what I was trying to do the show today. Disaster and rise of corporate and fall of public health care. Dr. Amitabh Banerjee presented a beautiful presentation. Now I'll try to go. And you have seen how these drugs, hetero drug fellow, he gave money to BRS party and he became Rajya Sabha MP. Now he is trying to legislate. That is the irony. Quid-Pro-Quo.
उसी समय नरेंद्र मोदी कुछ दवा कंपनियों के साथ मिलकर आपकी जान के साथ खिलवाड़ कर रहे थे. वीडियो एंड तक जरूर देखना. क्या आपको कोरोना के समय के एक इंजेक्शन रेमडेसिवियर का नाम याद है? दरअसल इस इंजेक्शन का झमेला आज तक कोई समझ नहीं पाया है. कोरोना के समय इसकी भारी मांग थी. राज्य सरकारों और केंद्र सरकार के बीच इस इंजेक्शन को लेकर लड़ाइयां तक हुई. ड्रग माफिया ने 650 रुपए के इस इंजेक्शन को 60,000 से लेकर 6 लाख तक बेचा. अब इससे जुड़ी एक नई जानकारी मिली है. दवा कंपनी सिप्ला का बनाया हुआ रेमडेसिवियर इंजेक्शन ड्रग टेस्ट में फेल हो गया. इसी के चलते सिप्ला को 2 बार नोटिस भी भेजे गए. सिप्ला ने नवंबर 2022 में करोड़ों के इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड्स खरीदकर भाजपा की झोली में डाल दिए और सब साफ हो गया. मोदी जी और सिप्ला ने तो बना लिए करोड़ों रुपए आप अब तक लगे हुए हैं ताली थाली पीटने में। कोरोना में आप जब ताली और थाली पीटने में लगे हुए थे, उसी समय नरेंद्र मोदी कुछ दवा कंपनियों के साथ मिलकर आपकी जान के साथ खिलवाड़ कर रहे थे। वीडियो एंड तक जरूर देखना। क्या आपको कोरोना के समय के एक इंजेक्शन रेमडेसिवियर का नाम याद है? दरअसल इस इंजेक्शन का झमेला आज तक कोई समझ नहीं पाया है। कोरोना के समय इसकी भारी मांग थी। राज्य सरकारों और केंद्र सरकार के बीच इस इंजेक्शन को लेकर लड़ाइयां तक हुई। ड्रग माफिया ने 650 रुपए के इस इंजेक्शन को 60,000 से लेकर 6 लाख तक बेचा। अब इससे जुड़ी एक नई जानकारी मिली है। दवा कंपनी चिपला का बनाया हुआ रेमडेसिवियर इंजेक्शन ड्रग टेस्ट में फेल हो गया। इसी के चलते सिप्ला को 2 बार नोटिस भी भेजे गए। सिप्ला ने नवंबर 2022 में करोड़ों के इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड्स खरीदकर भाजपा की झोली में डाल दिए और सब साफ हो गया। मोदी जी और चिपला ने तो बना लिए करोड़।
So this is one addition. I even questioning Congress party. Your chief ministers are there in the states, and your parties are there in the states. What are they doing? Even they did not receive any money at local level from another pharma companies, which have not undergone any trial. I'll try to give you that list also. But how remdesivir played a crucial role. Now I'm trying to give you swipe to if the meds your loved ones take is on the list. Read if the medicines are. 2 members of the Himachal Legislative Assembly, Keval Singh Patania and Vipin Singh Parmar, did us all a great favor. They asked a question of the Himachal Pradesh Ministry of Health to provide a list of all drugs that have failed test in the last 3 years along. So now I'm trying to 1683 drug samples failed testing. The answer provided by the government indicates that over the last 3 years, a total of 1683 drug samples manufactured in the state failed testing. Just think about this number, 1683 drugs failed testing over the last 3 years. The number probably includes samples collected in the other states, which then notified HP because the manufacturer was located in HP, Himachal Pradesh. So these are the list of the drugs. So that is why I was questioning Congress and other parties, including Orissa government, the DMK government, now in Telangana, Congress government, Karnataka Congress government. You have various manufacturing units, Gujarat. So these are the, why wasn't a drug recall publicly announced? See, from a public health perspective, each of these quality failures should have been accompanied by a nationwide recall of the batch in question. They should have been publicly announced so that nobody else consumed the substandard medicine. The non-punishment by a criminally corrupt regime endangering lives of millions of Indians. Look at the punishment clause. See, that is what I said. They have amended. Usko సవరణ kiya hai isme. దీంట్లో సవరణ తీసుకొచ్చారు. ఆ రోజు చెప్పాను, జన్ ఔషధ్ బిల్లా, జన్ సర్వనాశనం బిల్లా అని ఆ రోజే మనం ప్రశ్నించడం పార్లమెంట్. ఆల్ పొలిటికల్ పార్టీస్ కెప్ట్ క్వైట్. పనిష్మెంట్ ఏంది ఇక్కడ? ది మోస్ట్ కామన్ పనిష్మెంట్ ఆర్ లైసెన్స్ సస్పెన్షన్స్ ఫర్ 10 days. 10 freaking days and not for the manufacturing plant. Mind you, suspension that the particular product license. This is a non-punishment. It's a joke. A 10-day suspension for a product doesn't shut down the factory since other products can still be manufactured. We suspect these suspensions are not really enforced because if they were, we would have seen litigation before the courts. So this is what has happened. And this amendment was brought in by Modi government. All political parties, they boycotted. Opposition failed. That is why we said DRTSPR channels function like opposition. That is how they have removed all criminal liabilities and they brought in simplest amendments. That is why I'm asking RSS, are we not human beings? How did you allow BJP government to amend at the cost of precious human lives? And you have seen what has happened with BJP and remdesivir. You have to come out with a statement. The criminally corrupt and toothless laws. We see almost no litigation before the local high court challenging these product license suspensions. It just doesn't bite. Kudos to the 2 MLAs who asked this question. Time now for journalists to dig in deeper. That is why I'm trying to show everything, gentlemen. not of standard quality. The tables here do not specify the causes of the testing failures. When I worked at a US pharma company, we received reports of product defects daily, but almost all were due to packaging problems which could be readily spotted and which had no, see, they're trying to give you, why hasn't Supreme Court taken up the case? Shocked to see big pharma companies like Abbott, Alchem, Glenmark, FDC, Marpen, Z Labs, Indoca, Leaford, Biogenetics, and more on this list. Even more shocking is that it includes essential life-saving drugs, antibiotics, antifungals, and daily use medicines too. Now being run by pharma. See, they were all questioning why Supreme Court has failed to take up this quid-pro-quo case. Drug trials, failed drug trials, and still they have gone unpunished. Why are we demanding court-monitored probe? Why a court-monitored probe on quid pro quo involving electoral bonds is needed? The minimal charge of political and financial immorality of accepting donations from companies being investigated, prosecuted, and or raided by central agency is being defended on the ground of anonymity and opacity of the electoral bond scheme. Ignoring what is potentially the biggest election funding scam in the history of any democracy, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, referring to Bharat Rashtra Samiti and Indian National Congress in an election rally in Nagar Karnool in Telangana on March 16, 2024 said, "No corrupt person will be left. I am making this promise to the people." Home Minister Amit Shah, while defending the electoral bond scheme as a beginning to a solution, said at India Today on March 15th that he was willing to debate with any person or any forum that electoral bonds were bought to end black money in Indian politics, mocking at any link between the functioning of the central so and so. For all of you know, the money was given earlier, and in spite of that, still we went. See, it's all. That is why we are proving to demanding that a Supreme Court monitored probe inquiry is needed into quid pro quo on the drugs which have not undergone trial and are in use or being prescribed in the past, present, and would be prescribed. So such a dangerous situation which is arising, that is the reason why now we demand Supreme Court of India. We demand all political parties, even Amit Shah. We have shown you how remdesivir in your own these things. Can you deny this, Mr. Amit Shah? You wanted us to show. Now, the promise made Mr. Modi in Nagar Karnool, in Telangana, are you in an election rally? Now, what will you do? What will you say? CIPLA funding, remdesivir CIPLA funding, BJP, and all those manufacturing companies who have not even undergone those drugs, undergone trial, but they are being used. And they have funded all political parties in the state level, at the central level. Now, what is your take, Mr. Modi, Amit Shah, and Rahul Gandhi, Mallikarjun Kharge, all communist parties? I am demanding Mamata Banerjee, all NCP, BRS, everyone, who DMK and Orissa, all those political parties know what is that you will say. Supreme Court, don't you think it is a fit case immediately to take it suo moto so that you can save precious lives? And not only that, the inquiry should be from how many years these type of companies, these type of drugs, without undergoing trial, how are they being permitted into the market and how they have been made to be prescribed by the doctors and the hospitals. Indian Medical Association, you clearly stated only 0.1%. Now you have to come out why you are keeping quiet, why you kept quiet all the while, why you are still keeping quiet after electoral bonds release, the quid pro quo of such drug manufacturers funding political parties, all political parties. We are not naming just BJP and all, every political party, they have received money at the state level too. Don't you think this is a big issue than any other issue in election? Because it concerns one's life. When you go to hospital, you are being prescribed by drugs which have undergone, only drugs which 0.1% drugs have undergone trial. Rest of the drugs are being experimented. So the drugs which are supposed to treat and cure you, they are proving to be more harmful and dangerous than the original disease itself. Anyone can correct me. My mobile number is 9440465339. You can participate. You can prove me wrong. But still, we are demanding Supreme Court to immediately take it suo moto and ban all those manufacturing companies who are indulging in such type of life-threatening treatment patterns. And not only that, Supreme Court should look into those serious amendments which this government under Modi has brought in. Opposition walking out silently, did not even discuss. They said, Jan so-and-so bill, 2023-24. They said that is the best bill. Now that bill stands exposed after those companies who have not even gone for trial, they are prescribed, those drugs are prescribing. Why? They are funding all political parties. And that is why you brought this amendment. This amendment is going to kill all of us. If you keep quiet, if you are silent, it will not only harm you today, but your kith and kin, your future, your children, they will be made scapegoats. So wake up, call for all, demanding Supreme Court to take up suo motu all those manufacturers. Those drugs which have not at all undergone any trial, they should be immediately withdrawn. They should be penalized. The amendment which was brought in on the floor of the parliament, that should be struck down henceforth. And there should be a clear transparency and accountability on all the drugs, whether it is life-threatening, life-saving, fungal, bacterial, all those drugs should be there in the public domain, including its contents and its side effects, and whether they have gone for any clinical trials, when did they go? If they have undergone clinical trials, all those positive and negative reports as wanted by World Health Organization on clinical trials should be made or should be there in the public domain henceforth. And Indian Medical Association, you are responsible. Why are you keeping quiet? Why you kept quiet then? Why are you still keeping quiet after the electoral bonds clearly revealed the quid pro quo of those drug manufacturing companies, of those drugs which have not even undergone trials in a proper way, or which have been proved negative when it comes to the wealth of people, because health is wealth, health of the people. Even remdesivir, why are you keeping quiet? That Cipla, why don't you pull them? All those drugs which are there in the market, every citizen, every patient and their family, when a drug is prescribed by a doctor or a hospital, you should have that minimum common sense to understand what are the contents of the drug, to check the drug, whether the drug has undergone the drug trials properly, clinical trials properly, whether that data is available in the public domain or not, and how, who has given clearance, that also should be made known. Mr. Modi, regulatory authorities have become a mockery under this governance. All state governments, pathetic. Everywhere, same loot, quid pro quo. If someone protests, you try to get them behind bars by hoisting false cases. For how long it will? Now people have realized. Now that is why the Supreme Court should take it suo motu, ban all those drugs which have not even undergone any mandatory trials, and shut down all those manufacturers or drug companies, and also initiate action against all those regulatory authorities. Why they kept quiet? And the quid pro quo, all those companies which have funded those political parties, they should be taken for task also. And Election Commission of India, your role becomes more important. How can a life-threatening drug, which is not even life-saving drug, if it's going to be life-threatening drug without undergoing trial, if that drug has been prescribed just because they are funding political parties, what sort of democracy this is? Democracy means people. People means our lives. Our lives means our health. But when our health is put to a sword, should we keep quiet? Wake up, India. If not now, it will be never. Likewise, all electoral bonds should be henceforth banned, and income tax should inquire lakhs of crores of penalties. It will come to the Indian checker. And why should you need so much of money? And 75 lakhs for Lok Sabha is highest limit. Even that limit, Nirmala Sitharamanji clearly stated, I am not able to contest because I don't have that 75 lakhs money. After serving, she's still serving as a finance minister, second time. That is the shame on our political system. Why do you need such money? That is why that money is coming through corruption, quid pro quo by those companies which are producing drugs without any trials, and we are using them because elections have become costlier, somehow you try to take money, whether the party in power or the opposition party, they are getting money, but not people like us. If you want to contest, you will not get money. That is why, see that money is totally removed from electioneering. Monetization, criminalization, corruption, quid pro quo, and when it comes to our own health, these drug making companies, without trial, if they are releasing into the market and they are being made to be used by forcing doctors or hospitals to prescribe for their own personal gain, should we keep quiet? They should go through the stringest of the punishments, not just a 10 days penalty, which Modi and Amit Shah. I don't understand why RSS is still keeping quiet. Even cow calf blood is there in the same Covaxin, Bharat Biotech and Indian Council of Medical Research. Government is trying to take cow calf blood. Now you see Cipla, Remdesivir, it is clearly exposed. Now you see the quid pro quo of all those drugs which have not even undergone trial. How can RSS keep quiet? How can you keep quiet? How can you allow such type of life-threatening drugs without any trial being used to save lives? That is what those drugs, I'm talking about those drugs which have not even undergone trial, and those companies or drug manufacturing companies who have been contributing to the political parties at the state or center. Don't you think we have a duty to demand for closure and initiate the stringest of the punishments so that no one ever dares? And not only that, these electoral bonds, illegal as they are, now proving in every sector. We are going to come by sector as income tax still fails to act, as Supreme Court still fails to act, Election Commission of India still fails to act, and political parties still fail to return those electoral bonds illegal, quid pro quo, corrupt money. That is why, as a citizen, concerned citizen, under Article 51G, it is my duty as a responsible citizen and as a journalist under Article 19(1)(a), I am trying to bring out this information, put this information in the public domain, so that every citizen will rise to the occasion, start questioning before any medicine is injected or any tablet you swallow. You need to understand the drug history, whether this drug has undergone a clear clinical trial. If so, where is the data? What are the positive elements and what are the negative elements? When this drug should be prescribed or not? Is the data available? Otherwise, you are harming yourself, because any disease, any treatment or prevention should not be more harmful than the original disease itself. So that is the main end. Start questioning Indian Medical Association. Write to Supreme Court of India to immediately to take up suo motu all those drugs which have not even undergone any trial but still are being used or were used, because I am demanding a comprehensive inquiry. It is not only the death it may result, it may incapacitate you. The side effects will have been enormous. We are not animals, with due respects to all those animals in the labs which they do. But now you have seen how COVID-19 era, now also it has a big exposure thanks to Supreme Court and electoral bonds, how they have been shamelessly and without any fear using those drugs which have not even undergone any trial on human beings, on fellow citizens. It is a shame. For the sake of money, how can you do that? That is why there was a demand from many. All those vaccines should be given to all those politicians who are in power and all those political parties and all those administrators who have been framing up these lands and their families. Similar way, don't you think these drugs are also should be meant for them? Think, no enmity against any individual or animosity towards any party or organizations. Issue as per rule of law, constitution, invoking evidential act. That is the tagline of DRTSPR channels. Anyone can participate. My number is 944-0465-339. WhatsApp is also there to the number. Before you want to join me, make it very clear, we are not personally against anyone, nor any organization or parties, because we are dealing with issue as per rule of law, constitution, invoking evidential act, as I have shown you every evidence in this today. And also the social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, the way, and even including WhatsApp, the way they are trying to harass us, don't you think it is the right time? Because we are providing intellectual property, we call such information. We want to sensitize people, citizens. When we are providing that information, how is that our right to express is being curbed by these so-called social media platforms? Now we have seen quid-pro-quo electoral bonds. You just go through the advertisements or who are there behind by these social platforms, you will clearly understand. Start writing to them. How dare you try to stop us? How dare you try to impose information on us, which is not at all truthful, which is not at all scientific, which is not at all logical, which is against the rule of law, against the constitutional spirit, and it defaces or destabilizes the evidential act of the land. Start questioning. मेलुकोनंडी, जाग जाओ, वरना हमारी स्वास्थ्य गई काम से. మీరు మేలుకోకపోతే మన ఆరోగ్యం పోయినట్టే. Our health in our hands, because health is wealth. ఆరోగ్యమే మహాభాగ్యం. Thank you very much. Do support DRTSPR channels, Citizen DRTSPR channels, and Environment People DRTSPR channels. They are all in larger public interest only. Jai Telangana, Jai Andhra, and I'll say Jai Hind. At the same time, I will always say Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu.